Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I have a feeling that this episode is gonna piss a lot of people off because that's right, you saw the thumbnail correct. We're talking about a motherfucking hybrid motorcycle today.
We do not care.
This bike right here in front of me is the all-new 2024 Kawasaki Z7 Hybrid. And hopefully by the end of this video, I will be able to put together a solid verdict for whether or not you should be looking at this motorcycle and saying it's a good buy, or if instead you should be saying goodbye. And before we arrive at that final decision, what we're gonna be accomplishing today, we're gonna go through a couple of specs on this motorcycle. I'm gonna get you an exhaust clip because yeah, this motorcycle does still have an internal combustion motor along with the battery that's under the seat. We're gonna go for a test ride and then we'll arrive at that final goodbye or goodbye segment of the video at the end. Now, before we get going, we do have to get the formalities out of the way. So let's just dive into that. First of all, I'm an affiliate from Revzilla. If you check out some of the links in the description below, I may be compensated if you decide to make a purchase. There's a bunch of great stuff down there that you can check out to enhance your riding experience. And we've got to remember to thank our dealership partner who these videos would not be possible without. So please join me in giving a big thank you to Big St. Charles Motorsports.
Big St. Charles Motorsports is your premier dealer for everything power sports related here in the Midwest. Located just 20 miles northwest of St. Louis in St. Charles, Missouri, Big St. Charles Motorsports easily has the most inventory and the most brands under one roof. You really will have a hard time finding a bigger selection than what Big St. Charles Motorsports offers. Whether it's the Apex Predator of the top-of-the-line road-going motorcycles, a big touring machine from someone like Indian Motorcycle, or just something in the off-road category from Gas, KTM, Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Can-Am, it doesn't matter. They've got it all under one roof. But it doesn't just stop at the machine. Their parts, apparel, and gear department is stellar. Whether you're looking at something from Shoei, Bell, Alpinestars, the employees that work here are sure to get you steered into the right direction. They'll make sure to get you fitted into something so you can rep your favorite brand. Come down and visit them today. Located at 3830 West Clay Street, St. Charles, Missouri. Find them online at bigstcharlesmotorsports.com or give them a call directly at 636-946-6487. Big St. Charles Motorsports and Omnimoto are not affiliated in any other capacity outside of these test ride reviews. If I say something stupid, please don't blame Big St. Charles.
And on the subject of Big St. Charles Motorsports, they've got a whole bunch of other content on their social media platforms about these hybrid motorcycles that you can go check out. Find them on their YouTube, Big St. Charles Motorsports. Find them on TikTok, Big St. Charles Motorsports, and find them on their Facebook at, you guessed it, it's Big St. Charles Motorsports. And while we're shamelessly plugging social medias, follow my TikTok. I do short form content. It's not very good, but I do it. I post most of it on my YouTube page, but maybe there's a couple things on my TikTok that you might find that you haven't seen before. So go check that out. Thank you. All right, now that that is all out of the way, let's talk about this bike. So first up, let's just kick the video off with some specs. As is tradition around here, we start at the front of the motorcycle, and I want to make a quick note. This is the smallest displacement motorcycle to receive a dual disc setup, and I think it's because of the weight, which we'll touch on in a second. These brakes are twin 300mm discs, and they are pinched between a set of Nissan calipers with 2 pistons on each side. The forks on this motorcycle are a conventional setup. They are 41mm in diameter and they feature no adjustability. At the rear of the motorcycle, we can find a single 220mm disc. This is pinched between a Nissan caliper as well, but this is only one piston. The suspension that's tucked up way in there is what Kawasaki calls a unitrack suspension. There's nothing particularly fancy about it, and the only adjustability you get is the preload. And now the part that many tune in for. We're talking about the heart of the beast, the engine, or should I say, engines. The Z7 Hybrid is powered by the same 451cc parallel twin that you find in the Ninja 500, the Z500, and the Kawasaki Eliminator. The hybrid portion of the motorcycle features a 48-volt lithium-ion battery with a permanent magnet motor. It's found under the seat, and it's mounted longitudinally with the motorcycle, which is why you're seeing the wheelbase being as long as it is. With the combination of the internal combustion parallel twin engine stuffed into the frame, along with the 48-volt lithium-ion battery, Kawasaki claims that this motorcycle makes about the same horsepower as a Ninja 650, which is right around 70 horsepower. Horsepower comes from torque and being able to manipulate it. The peak torque output for this motorcycle is 44.2 foot-pounds, and that's achieved at just a meager 2,800 RPM, which is pretty stinking impressive. The transmission in this motorcycle is a 6-speed setup. However, there's no shifter, and there's no clutch lever. And we'll touch more on that in just a moment. The curb weight on the Z7, I'm just gonna keep it straightforward. It's heavy. It comes in at a staggering 498 pounds wet. And I attribute this weight to Kawasaki's reasoning to put a twin disc setup on this motorcycle so we can really slow it down. Because at nearly 500 pounds, that's a lot of mass trying to be stopped. Seat height on the Z7 Hybrid comes in 31.3 inches, which is a little bit taller than your standard Kawasaki Z500 that comes in at 30.9 inches. So really, it's not that much higher for having a big lithium-ion battery underneath the seat. I'm 6'1", I have a 33-inch inseam, I'm about 185 pounds. This is how I fit on the Z7. Both of my feet are flat on the ground with zero issue. I've got a slight bend in my knee, and if I raise my foot up into the peg, you can see my rider triangle is nice and neutral. I'm sitting very upright, which means I've got all-day comfort. I can ride this bike for hours and hours before feeling fatigue in my wrists, my back, or my hips. All right, I think that we've done enough specification talk on the motorcycle, and now we're ready to move into the exhaust notes segment. So let's flip it to that, and let's get a sound clip. All right, everybody, here we are, test ride portion of the video. We're gonna check out the parking lot manners of the Kawasaki Z7 Hybrid and see how she does. We'll bet our brakes in a little bit before we get on the roadways. We'll try to do a parking lot test with the turning radius. Okay. I was expecting a little bit more out of those front brakes, really. Feel at the lever is, it's kind of iffy, really. Kind of iffy for me. Speed it up. Let's get up to about 20, 30. And really, okay. All right. Well, they probably just need bedded in. You know, those surfaces are not mated on the pads and rotors. So while it's searching for friction, trying to slow itself down, it's just not able to find that because, again, it's not properly mated. But that's why we come to the parking lot first, do our checks, which you probably should do prior to every ride to ensure that things are working properly and functioning as they should. All right, flicking the bike around, I mean, you notice the weight of it. It's substantial. This is a 500-pound bike that feels heavy. You feel 500 pounds. We do have a cool little feature on it though called walk mode. So while I'm sitting on a bit of an incline here, or a decline rather, I'm gonna come to a complete stop, and if I put myself in neutral and I try to back the motorcycle up, I'm capable, but maybe someone who doesn't have the reach that I have would have a little bit of trouble moving it backwards. So we're gonna come over here to our left switchgear box. We're gonna hold this button that says walk. Gonna hold that down, and now we're in walk mode. You hear the bike shut off, and I'm gonna have to put it in gear with the switch on the front here. So now we have F and R. So if I go wide open on this in walk mode, you'll see that nothing really happens aside from a 1 mile per hour, 2 mile per hour, 3. Yeah, it's accelerating downhill, but that's walk mode. So I'm just walking with the motorcycle right now. Now, if I want to go backwards and push myself up the hill, all I have to do is roll that same throttle forward. And suddenly the bike is helping me back up. You can see I'm not putting very much effort with my feet down here. I'm just kind of letting the bike do the work. It's kind of hard to ride in reverse, but you know, that's cool. Yeah, that's tough to do, but you get the idea. So reverse and forward and walk mode. Very, very helpful to move a 500-pound motorcycle. At least Kawasaki had the wherewithal to add that feature. And then we're going to put it back into standard mode, so all we have to do is hold the walk button down once more, and we'll go back into our normal screen, and the bike comes back to life. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's try to do our 2 parking spot test. All right, let's just try this right here. This is as good a spot as any. You guys know the drill here. We are just going to start on this line and try to make our way in before that line over there. Let's have at it. Not quite, but pretty close. Maybe we can tighten those up a little bit. There's no clutch on this motorcycle, so there's no such thing as a friction zone. You can still hang the back brake, but I'm sure that the electric motor probably doesn't like that resistance being put on it. But yeah, not quite a 2 parking spot machine. Perhaps it's rider skill, perhaps it's wheelbase. Let's get out on the actual roadways with this machine. Okay, so earlier I did mention that there's no clutch and there's no shifter, so I mean, you guys can see there's definitely no shifter down there. There's definitely no clutch right here. To shift this motorcycle, you have 2 paddles. Up on the front is the upshift, and here on the back side is backshift. I guess it makes sense when you say it that way. Personally, I feel the upshift should be here and this should be backshift, but you know, I'm not the manufacturer. I didn't make this bike. Let's okay, so now we're in eco mode. It's gonna take off using the electric motor, and then once we cross over 10 miles per hour, it's gonna kick that gas powered engine back on. And here we go. And there's the gas engine. I gotta give it credit for the shifting. It is very crisp and it translates directly. So as soon as I tap it, it's doing what I ask of it. So if I shift up from 4th to 5th, yeah, that's instantaneous. I did notice earlier that you can go open on the throttle and you can shift up, but you cannot do the same thing to back shift. So I'm open on the throttle right now. If I try to back shift, nothing happens. You actually have to close your throttle and then you can back shift. So now I'm back into 4th, 5th, 6th, and it's giving me instant miles per gallon right now. It says that we're reading at 55 miles per gallon in 6th gear, doing 55 miles per hour, which is decent. That's about Ninja 500 territory, where this bike is really going to excel and get amazing fuel economy is around town whenever that battery is kicking on and doing a lot of the work for that internal combustion engine. Probably be a good time to talk about some features on the motorcycle. On our left control box over here, I've been swapping back and forth already, but eco and sport mode. If I put it in sport mode, the gas engine just stays on. As long as I am in eco mode though, anytime I come to a stop, that electric engine will take over. It is very interesting starting this motorcycle. Whenever you fire it up, there's no starter engine in the bike. It just relies on that electric motor to spin the engine over and get it to start. So it's dead silent until that ignition happens and then it comes to life. It's really cool. In terms of acceleration though, you've got the eco mode with just the battery getting you off the line, which isn't anything crazy. All right, now the bike is back off since we have come to a stop in eco mode. Let's go ahead and switch it into sport mode real quick. And the bike comes back on. So it's also got this e-boost button over here on the right-hand control. This gives you the takeoff power of what I feel like is a 700cc motorcycle. It's got excellent drive, and because it's so heavy, it keeps the front end down and it doesn't want to tip backwards on you. It's actually quite impressive. We're going to come to a nice controlled stop. Those front brakes already feel a lot better since the first initial few uses. All right, so we're going to try a couple of things here. So now we're just in strictly EV mode, okay? So let's put it in gear and let's get ourselves set and ready to roll here. So we're going to come out and we're going to launch this thing. 3, 2, 1, wide open throttle. And you'll notice it's actually shifting for me. Look at that. 4th. And I could probably take control and shift it on my own. No, I can't. I probably could if I was using the manual transmission button, but it's in AT, which is automatic transmission right now. So I'm wide open. 42 miles per hour is about where it caps out at. I bet if I was going downhill, I could squeeze out a little bit more. But obviously the EV mode isn't going to be that insane. Now on the fly, we should be able to convert that back into hybrid EV mode. So gas engine should come back on. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we've got to be at a complete stop for that. So let's get up here to this red light real quick. Let's go back wide open. Oh yeah, feel that electric motor pull. Woo! Crazy. I do like how quiet it is though. For vlogging, this would be an awesome bike. You could just hear everything that your, favorite vlogger is saying. I'm not saying I'm your favorite vlogger, but, All right, let's go back into hybrid electric vehicle mode. There we go. We're back in. We're in eco mode. Here we go. Whoops. I forgot to put it in gear, and then it just with that electric motor firing up the engine. It is pretty zippy. I'll give it credit. It's fairly zippy. It does all right. It's, again, just a Ninja 500 engine stuffed into the chassis. It's nothing crazy powerful, but it does get up and go fairly decent. Okay, so this time we will try to launch it in the hybrid engine mode, and I'm going to put it in sport mode to get the best drive off the line, hopefully. And then after that, we'll try the e-boost mode, and hopefully you guys get a decent idea from the video just how powerful it is off the line. Slow it down just a bit, up and over the tracks. There we go. Let's pull off to the shoulder right here, let these folks go around us so we're not impeding traffic and holding anyone up. So now we're just in regular hybrid electric mode. We are going to launch the bike. Here we go. Whee! So it's very capable of getting up to speed and hanging with traffic. Don't let the hybrid portion fool you. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, isn't one of the most powerful cars on the face of the planet a hybrid car? I think hybrid technology really is where motorcycles should be going instead of full-blown electric. The only problem right now is just the cost to manufacture batteries and replace batteries, and then the cost of entry to a hybrid product. If you get on Kawasaki's website, right now, as of May 30th, 2024, these hybrid electric bikes are going for $12,499 starting MSRP, which is about $7,000 more than a standard Ninja 500 that is every bit as capable of this motorcycle in terms of getting around town and just doing motorcycle stuff. So that's a bit of a talking point there, is pricing. That's pretty tough to swallow as a new rider. So if anyone is thinking of getting a hybrid bike, be sure it fits into your budget. All right, we're gonna do the e-boost, and this might be our 0 to 60 segment because my camera is crapping out. E-boost is active. Man, that launch off the line is so good, and the front end doesn't try one bit to come up. I mean, maybe just a hair. But again, it's so heavy that there's not really an issue there. On the note of being heavy though, it does have a nice balance of being maneuverable while being stable. And I can appreciate a motorcycle that feels stable. See, and then sometimes I never really know what's truly going on, because right now it says e-boost. So if I twist my throttle, no, that just feels like a regular Ninja 500 engine. I don't know when e-boost decides to be active and when it doesn't, aside from whenever you actually press the button. That's something that will have to be tested by those who have more time on their hands than myself. We're gonna put ourselves back in eco mode. Oh, and we did not stop. That battery is pulling. Ah, that's such a bizarre sensation. So sometimes in eco mode, whenever you're slowing down and you haven't quite stopped all the way, where normally the bike would, shut all the way down and then the battery would take over whenever you take off next and pull you, rather than shutting all the way off, it just kind of idles. And then whenever you take off below 10 miles per hour, like right here, for example, it just stays idling, but the electric motor is pulling me until 10 miles per hour and above. A truly bizarre sensation, but kind of cool. Just a little eerie and leery. It is neat though. What do you guys think of hybrid motorcycles? Do you think this is the way of the future for the world of two wheels? Do you think fully electric motorcycles should be what we pursue? Personally, I like the idea of hybrid. I don't like the idea of very, very heavy bikes. So I think as battery technology progresses and gets better, we'll see lighter batteries and weights that are a little bit more feasible for the everyday rider on a what's potentially an entry-level bike in the beginner segment. But here's me on a hybrid motorcycle going 70 miles per hour. I could backshift down to 4th gear, and we're going 60, and I'll open it up. And we've got passing power. It's not a crazy amount, but we did just touch 80 miles per hour fairly quickly. So you can make your passes, you can do your commuting. It still works as a practical motorcycle in multiple environments. It's not just around town that this bike works. From town to town, back roads, parking lots, there's a lot of places that hybrid motorcycles make sense. And again, back to that note of stability and being heavy, I am just rock solid on this highway. Zero issue. Zero complaints out of the chassis, suspension, and I haven't really talked about the seat very much, but the Z series from Kawasaki is the more comfortable sport-oriented motorcycle just because of the upright ergonomics and whatnot. And I gotta give the nod to the Z7 for being comfortable. You know, I'm considered by most people a taller guy, and this bike's doing really well for me right now. Here's a small side note, mirrors. These mirrors work very well. I don't know that Kawasaki changed anything about like the bar length and where the perches are mounted for the mirrors, but I can see behind me perfect. And my body, like my arm in the mirror, is only taking up maybe 10% of this inner side right here. I'll try to position the camera so you guys can see behind. I'm always so bad at this, so I'm trying to kind of move my head without being super awkward. Yeah, and right now we're getting 49.2 instant miles per gallon. Let's see if we can get a readout on our average. So our average is 37. We've only got 14 miles of data to go off of, and the first 5 or 6 miles of that data are around a parking lot and around streets. No surprise there, it went from 37 to 37.2, so it looks like we are increasing our MPG. So let's get our range pulled up. We've got just under a full tank, and given the current average miles per gallon, it's only calculating we have 102 miles left until we're empty, but I guarantee that is not true whatsoever, not one bit. And if this bike is really capable of getting the roughly 70 miles per gallon that Kawasaki claims, on a 3.7 gallon tank, you could get upwards of about 280 miles of range before you run the tank completely bone dry, which means realistically 220 miles to 250 miles, which is just a hair better than the Z500 strictly gas-powered motorcycle. Not all bad. We're coming to the close of our test ride here, and I guess I should start deliberating on who this bike is for, who it's not for, and what your decision should be whenever you're considering one to purchase it. This bike is for someone who wants a very well-rounded commuter. Even if you're a beginner, I don't think you should be scared of the weight of this motorcycle. It carries itself very well, and with that walk mode feature, you've got an awesome rider aid to help you move it around parking lots and low-speed scenarios and give you that confidence to be able to handle the beast at low speeds. Because once you're moving, it feels relatively weightless. Also, if you just want something different, you know, this bike is 100% different from anything else that's on the roadways today. You wheel up at a stoplight next to someone and they read hybrid on the side of your bike, they're gonna do a double take and go, wait a minute, did I just read that right? The uniqueness of it is pretty cool, but of course there is a price to pay for that, so if you're a little bit more budget conscious, I don't know that I could recommend it, but if you want something unique, absolutely. It's very comfortable. It is mad comfortable, and it's capable. Highway, city, back road, does it all very well. And you know what? If you're just someone who buys green vehicles, you know, like electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles already, this would probably fit nicely in your garage next to your electric or hybrid car. So maybe you're just someone who's environmentally conscious and wants to save the planet by buying something like this. That's totally cool. I respect that. I personally probably wouldn't buy one, but it's not because I hate the earth. It's just because I don't think the technology is quite there yet. So for that brief reason there, and all the other ones aforementioned, I believe this is a good buy. Now the flip side to that coin, of course, if you hate hybrid motorcycles and you hate the idea of electric, this is probably not for you. It's not really big on storage either, so if you're buying a motorcycle and you need to haul some gear and some cargo around, I would recommend looking at something different. Very minimal wind protection, although on the highway I felt pretty good, and with this new Alpinestars protective armor that I'm wearing, yes, this is CE rated, you can find this in the description below. I had a great time on it, even without any wind protection. I like a little bit of wind on me. You know, feel the open road, feel your surroundings. I enjoyed it, but if you're after wind protection, nah. If you want something really, really fast with like breakneck speeds and raw torque, nah. If you're looking for something that's really lightweight, nah. If you're looking for something that's really flickable and maneuverable, nah. So if it were up to me, personally, and because of all of the other reasons that I just listed, goodbye. All right, that's it. Let's flick it to the outro. Hey, welcome to the end of the video. Thank you so much if you've made it this far. I want to give a big thanks to you guys for getting me to 10,000 subscribers. It's crazy that we've come so far. And looking back at some of my old content and where I started from, I think I've improved quite a bit. I've evolved as a creator and as a person as well. And it's because of you guys that I've made it this far. So thank you for all of the help and support along the way. I want to give a big thanks again to Big St. Charles Motorsports. Without them, none of this would be possible. You know, my YouTube channel probably just would die off because I wouldn't be able to have access to all these awesome products that they carry. Although Omnimoto and Big St. Charles are not affiliated, the individual under this lid does work for Big St. Charles Motorsports, which is why I have the privilege of being able to do this. So can't thank them enough. They've been awesome, and they're a great employer with great people who work there, great bosses, great owner, just a great operation out here. So big thanks to those guys. Big thanks to my viewers too. I take all your comments to consideration. The changes that you say I should make, I do my best to implement so long as it benefits everyone on the channel and viewers from all over the world. I'm not perfect and I don't get everything right. I do my best and it's not always enough, but at my core, again, thank you to all of the viewers. You guys stick around and support me. So the least I can do is try to put on my best helmet and continue to make content that's fun to watch, enjoyable, and valuable to you guys. That's gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Once more, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Have a great week. Please ride safe.